I am resident of Colorado YouTube. Jules Sings as my buddy Patrick McCray, as my buddy Gordon Dymowski, as my buddy Alan Gallant. We are here to review Star Trek, the original series. It's the Squire of what's the name of
The
Bo
Squire of
Gothos.
Gothos.
Gothos. Okay. So guys, a alien, a playful alien with magical powers, brings Kirk and some of his crew to his planet and decides to play games with them. Okay, when did you guys first watch this episode? Gordon first.
I probably would have seen this as a kid,
Yeah,
watching Sunday mornings, Channel 9,
or
4 o'clock, because it was 10 o'clock with Star Trek, 11 o'clock was The Lone Ranger, 11:30 was Cisco Kid, and I rarely watched Cisco Kid because I had to 12 o'clock mass. So,
That's quite a combination. Cisco Kid and Mass. Well, that works.
well, no, I'd skip Cisco Kid because it's a 12 o'clock
Oh,
mass, and
okay.
I'd have to walk.
Star Trek and Mass. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Mhm.
Patrick, when
yeah,
did you?
it was a similar kind of thing. Star Trek is one of the first TV series I remember. I had to be 3 or right on the cusp of 4, and I don't remember much. I remember Scotty. I remember the voice of Scotty. And for some reason, I think I'm misremembering. Scotty kept talking about being trapped in a bottle, or at least that's what I recall. So
Well,
God only knows what I think he was like in the Jeffries tube or something. And to my 3-year-old mind, and the red alert signal wouldn't stop going off. I remember that sound, that boop, boop.
Well,
So I saw them all, and we also had it just once a week, which really surprised me later when I found out it was stripped every day of the week. I would have lost my mind if it had been every day of the week Star Trek. That would have been the best thing in the world. But we got it once a week, and we got it. Talking about religious significance, we got it at 11 a.m. Sunday,
mhm.
prime church time, and it had the catechism. I mean, you got the lesson, you got you got the priests, you have a ritual to it. It's I mean, it really is in a lot of ways a very religious show, and in some of its experience, and I remember how pissed off I was when one of my mother's many religions was Christian Science, and she thought it would save me from being a juvenile delinquent. I was all of 11, and it was forcing me to go to that. I mean, church is crazy enough, but this,
Mm,
wow,
yeah.
and yet bland. So I was out of Star Trek
Banality of crazy. Yeah.
about 2 or 3 years, and it was really painful. But around the time of Wrath of Khan, she started to drop it, and that came back strong because there were these Trek books, the best of Trek. Do you remember these?
mhm.
Based on some fanzine I never got to read, but really interesting articles. I mean, I thought it was a really well done series, and this every week was about the highlight of the week. And for us, it was Wild Wild West that I watched, I think, on TBS or WGN after. And so that was my double feature. And it was a hell of a double feature.
Yep. Yep. Basically, um, uh, your first foray into anti-nostalgia, because for you it wouldn't have been nostalgic; it would be brand new.
It was new. And, along with Batman and everything else.
Hmm.
So, Alan?
I probably watched it in 1960, early 67, I think is when this episode would have premiered. Probably, I don't remember that. I do remember 74, 75 when it really started to go into syndication really hard. I remember seeing this.
And that would have been around my time when the
Yeah.
Mego dolls were coming out and the bridge and
Hmm. And I also remember in 76, I think it was, Gold Key published all of their Star Trek in comic books in these Enterprise log
yeah.
cover books, and I had a bunch of those. I had
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 of the 4 that they did.
76 for me, DeForest Kelly came to Louisville, and I was 5, but we went anyway. And he had a
Yeah.
story about pink pants. Poor pants.
Yeah. Well, he's
That's
an actor. You know, you never know.
remember that was a point of pride for me
Hmm.
for years that I got to see DeForest Kelly. I mean
Hmm.
that was my rock
That's
show.
pretty cool. That's a cool early memory to have for a hardcore fan. Absolutely.
And good bonding with my father because he was a big Star Trek fan,
Hmm.
and I always associated him with Spock.
Hmm.
He looks like him, and he has sort of Vulcan-like qualities. So yeah,
It's a little laconic.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
that very, very strictly rational,
Hmm.
and a Navy man, and just had those qualities.
Guys, the character in this story kind of reminds me of Q. What do you guys think here?
Well, yeah, I mean, Peter David wrote a whole book about that, and
Hmm.
on the Wedding Bells episode of Strange New World, Q voices Trelane's father, which I would have preferred the guy who plays Scotty to voice his father because James Doohan voiced it on the TV series.
Hmm.
But having John Delancey there, clearly tied him into the Q continuum.
Hmm.
I could certainly handle that.
Yeah, he's of that race of people, but he's a freaking child.
Yeah,
More so than even Q. Q could be childlike and childish sometimes, but this entity is a child.
but I gotta say, in terms of just coding, not reality, but coding, you know, it doesn't get much bigger than
Yeah.
in his behavior. And
Oh,
you got John Delancey as your dad. Now he's straight, but Q is all over the map. And
yeah,
Susan Claxon as your mother. Good Lord,
yeah.
he's splendid. He's marvelous. He's an explosion.
Well, he's at least omnisexual.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
The There's some really interesting stuff about William Campbell. I don't know if you know his personal history or not, but he was married to Judith Exner.
Hard.
He was married to one of JFK's mistresses.
Which one? Judy Campbell.
Yes, Campbell Exner. Yeah,
Married Judy Campbell.
yes, who was an incredibly attractive woman.
Oh, Billy Campbell's no slouch. His son.
Yeah, yeah. But it was an interesting foray, and I didn't put the two together until later, and then I realized, oh, it's William Campbell's ex-wife.
Man, boy, he lucked out.
Yeah, well, then he got
Poor
cucked out, but but yeah, I think he went on to bigger and better things in his personal life actually after that.
man.
But yeah, he is very. The term they used to use was fey, because he's not only a child, but he is very flamboyant child. He
Yes.
is like and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to watch this
It is.
petulant, snobby child.
Yeah.
Gordon, what do you think, man?
Yeah. And his accent comes out,
Oh yes,
which is great when he's a Klingon also. And he's got that accent.
yeah.
Gordon, what do you think?
What do I think? I think that I think Campbell does a good job. I think the character of Trelane, I think you have to, I think you have to, I find that you have to watch the original show. I try to watch it and strip it of any kind of external connections because one of the things I find annoying, is, and when it comes to discussion of Star Trek, Star Wars, or Doctor Who, there is this kind of weird, it's not only this kind of calcified idea that, okay, it all fits together, but it's almost fetishized. But when you look at this episode, I try to see this episode as it is a unique piece within this series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it works. I think it's not meant to be the lesson of the week necessarily, although there's some ideas about power and the ability to, what if someone who is childlike had infinite power? But it's also not like like a piece of the action or something like
Couple of triples.
yeah, Trouble with Triples. It's not like it's not a comedy episode. And I think Campbell does a good job because when you watch it, he starts as you figure he's like, okay, he's Fey, he's kind of you figure he's like this kind of like goofy guy, and what you realize throughout is like towards the end when he's yelling, you cheated, you're not being fair. He's a kid.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see the through line of his performance.
Yeah.
And I think it's telling that, when the parents come in, you would think normally, I think in any other series, especially of that time, I think it could have been handled as a Deus ex machina, like literally, how do we resolve this? But the way that the story handles it is okay, Kirk actually does defeat him by just being, by just being, yeah, there's no
The
better word for
adult
it.
in the room.
Yeah. It's like he's the grown up
Yeah.
and everyone else is the grown up. Um, it's kind of why, like, I think that the Strange New Worlds episode, I think if I know they kind of like barely hinted at him being Trelane because they never say it outright, but he's got the jacket and they do the thing at the end. And even the thing at the end,
Letdown.
pardon?
I thought it was a letdown.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Um, and I think it's one of the things I find in a lot of it's when you can tell, I think, a long running franchise is starting to run out of steam, is when you start doing the get it, get it.
Mm.
Um, I think, I think, and again, these were produced. There's a 2 year hiatus between when these scripts were written and then getting back to because of a writer's strike. So I think this is one that could have used a few more passes through the word processor because I think making it that obvious where it's like, hey, he's Trelane. And I think you could argue that even though it's John Delancey's voice, it's not necessarily Q. I mean, I'm not arguing. It's like you
Sure.
can read it either way.
Well, they could have done more with, say, the special effect, the flash of light that is
Right.
so quintessential to him.
Right. And I'm not going to like it's one of those things where, I'm not happy about it, but I can understand where it's like, oh, hey, we're doing this thing that Peter David wrote, and but I think when you look at this episode as its own piece, I think it's a solid kind of hour of entertainment.
Mhm.
I think it says some deeper things, but it's not like, say, like one of my favorite episodes is A Taste of Armageddon. I think that might have actually been the first episode I actually watched, where you've got these two planets that are at war with computers, or they don't have a treaty to end the war. They have a treaty that says, okay, we're going to keep up this war via computer, but you got to send people to die. You've got an ambassador who's like, hey, look, I'm the ambassador. You got to listen to me. And he's trying to figure this stuff out. And Kirk is like, you know, I'm sure Kirk is like wanting to push his ambassador out an airlock, you know. But I think this is it's an entertaining episode.
It's an adventure. It's kind of an adventure with a little bit of threat and darkness to it, but not much.
And a very strange reference to Uhura.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, was that Lincoln in the Savage Curtain? I think it's Lincoln in the Savage Curtain,
Mm.
who I think refers to her as the charming negress.
Yes. Yes.
You can tell you can tell this was produced in the 60s.
Yes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, Trelane is also a product of Earth's in the 1600s or whatever, I mean, he's or 1700s, so he's also making, vernacular references to things that even in the 60s would have been like, oh my God, what did he just call her,
Well, it's funny too because at the time they probably would have just when you consider how TV was made, it's like, okay, what kind of set can we build on the cheap?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can do like a medieval castle thing. Oh, okay, we've got this idea for a god who's kind of a kid with a magic machine that makes him do stuff. Let's do that.
Yeah, it's a totally self-contained world. It's on a hostile planet, and this little bubble of this house and the grounds around it are that's your world, basically.
What it reminds me of, if Corman and Richard Matheson had gotten together to do a Star Trek episode
Yeah.
with Vincent Price, it would have been this.
Yes.
Down to the castle.
Yeah. Yes. Down to the fey display of
Oh my God.
18th century, gentlemanliness.
Yeah, especially when you consider that this was filmed at Desilu, and Desilu was right next to the Paramount lot. Because I actually visited the Paramount lot in the early 90s, before attending a Dark Shadows gathering back in the day. But Desilu lot, they had that, they had the kind of the generic street, kind of the generic street lot, because that's where like Andy Griffith and the street where like a lot of where Andy Griffith was filmed.
So does it show up in like a Piece of the Action and
Yes.
City on the Edge?
If it shows up in City on the Edge of Forever, there's even a MeTV commercial where it's in black and white. You see Kirk and Spock fade in, and then it cuts to Aunt B.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Goober Pyle like reading a Playboy or something.
Yeah.
Imagine Aunt B in the Savage Curtain instead of Lincoln.
How to tell too, the moment kind of realize he's a bit of a child too is when Kirk breaks the mirror and he's having this like temper tantrum, childish way.
That's part of the development to get the audience ready for the big reveal that he's just a kid.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like, because it's like, okay, I could see a villain being mad at Spock for beaming him up, all right, but the whole duel sequence, and the moment they pull out the dueling pistols, I'm thinking, please be a better shot than Bones. Please be a better shot than Bones. But yeah, the Kirk was. What's the guy fired it in the air, the alien, the kid, he's like, it's like, all right. Then Kirk just shoots the mirror because him and Spock are like, hey, he's not going away from that.
Yeah, the little conversation was a nice setup for that.
Yeah.
Mirror. Why does he keep looking in the mirror? That kind of thing.
My gut looked big.
I mean, you get clues throughout, and it's so much fun to watch it for the first time. Obviously, when it's revealed that he's just a child, but you get clues throughout, and it's fun to also, kind of make note of those things, like the fact that everything is a game to this guy. Everything is a game, and his emotional range is just like all over the place. He's all over the place.
And also the fine details, like there's a fire without heat. The wine tastes like crap.
Right.
The food tastes bland. And if you've ever been to certain restaurants in the Chicago suburbs, the food is bland and the wine is weak.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of fun. And of course that's all about him being an alien who's observing,
not
but not knowing fully what he's looking at,
Maybe he's underage, so he can't drink.
Well, he's also not human. He has
he's
real reference to that except for the behavior.
He's someone who likes to watch, but doesn't. He's like that one guy at the orgy, and this, Joel. There's always one guy in the corner. He likes to watch, but if you say, "Hey, why don't you join in?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm good. I'll just stay here clothed eating the M&Ms." You don't want to know where those M&Ms have been. No. Trust me.
Enema M&Ms, maybe.
Patrick,
anyway, let's not talk about San Francisco.
Have you
right
never
now.
been to an orgy?
I have said that.
I just had this look like
or deny.
God. What's you guys' favorite scene? Score you go first.
The M&M scene, of course.
I think this is one of those episodes.
Oh,
It's not like a film where you can select a solid scene. I think all in all it works. Because and I think a lot of television around this time, it's not meant to be, it's not directed in a cinematic style. It's basically close up, middle shot, wide shot, medium shot. So there's no real, I think it's one of those that it just moves along at a good pace.
um,
Patrick.
yes, if you have the courage. That that Shatner's line reading. It's just that one word
Yeah.
where he's imitating Trelane. Are you challenging me to a duel? Yes, if you have the courage. That one.
Courage.
Uh,
That would have been great.
Alan.
That's pretty good. The whole first segment where we get to finally see Trelane and his behavioral chicanery with the crew members. Oh, I suppose I'll have to give them back to you. Boom, that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's one of those payoffs. Normally, when Star Trek sets something up, like in Cat's Paw,
Mm-hmm.
the payoff is kind of like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
they had a budget, and all right. But this is one where not only does the payoff come at the very beginning,
Yes.
where you see him, but it continues. But this is where the alien lives up to everything we've heard.
Right. And Campbell just completely knew what he was doing from the outset.
He's wonderful as Koloth, also.
Yes. Yes.
He's up on DS9,
Absolutely.
maybe several times.
Mhm.
But in the episode of John Colicos and Michael
Ansara.
Stara.
And Sarah were the originals. Yeah.
It's one of those moments on DS9. I teared up. I was so thankful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's not fan service. That
No.
was real delivery of story with continuity.
Yeah. It was part of the story. It was also just happened to be an Easter egg too. That's all.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference. I see in a lot of franchises now, it's not thinking about what elements from the past would work. Those three worked because, ultimately, I mean, there's a world where John Colicos played the same Klingon across those three episodes, and then he would have been brought back for DS9. To me, it's I think, fan service, and when you do it not to tell a story plot piece or even to provide like context, it's like, you get it?
Yes.
Hey,
Like on
it's
display. Yeah. Just
yeah,
on display.
it's I'm trying to think of it's it's something that Lower Decks gets accused of a lot is fan service. I like Lower Decks because the fan service there, it's obviously a joke. It's like these are kids who these are officers who spent too much time in Starfleet history. Who
They
it's like
are
the way we make Dark Shadows jokes.
Right. Right.
And then there's a lot of character work underneath. But a lot of times fan service is just, yeah, here's a reference. Hey, you get this? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's to take you away from the story versus building up the story.
My favorite scene is at the end when Kirk is describing what Spock may have done as a boy. Really, he's describing himself, um, and then he looks like, oh, Spock's walking, and he raises his eyebrow. That shows
That's the lighthearted moment. And by that time, the producers of the show and the directors and the writers and everybody else realized that eyebrow thing was a hallmark.
Well, that was a class in Starfleet Academy. I mean, they all had an eyebrow at some point.
Yeah. The only thing that scene needed was Patton Oswalt as Doug the Vulcan to come in and start asking about contractions. That's all that scene needed.
It was a highlight of this season on Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, maybe the only highlight for me.
I would agree. It really, what a dog.
It's too bad when your favorite or one of your favorite franchises kind of drops the ball. But
don't get me started on Doctor Who. That's a whole other episode.
Right.
In And I want to respect Jewel because it's his podcast. Maybe we'll do it with those Collinwood boys about it one day.
Yeah, sure.
I'll expect a second recording on this one. But yeah, I do agree with you guys because that's the one thing I sort of fear with a Halloween TV series. I don't want too much fan service because I feel that's what the 3 Halloween movies did too much
Well,
fan
fan
service.
service in Halloween is watching people get murdered. Come on.
No.
I mean, that's necessary fan service. I mean, you know,
That's-
it's not like
you can't get away from that.
it's not
Yeah,
like
it's true.
Halloween 12. Michael Myers bakes a cake. You're never going to get
it's
that.
not going to work.
Sorry.
bringing American anything back.
Joel, I don't mean to be rude, but Patrick's been trying to speak.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's a Halloween series. They should really pull a hell of a rabbit out of a hat because it seems like it's real Johnny One Note. I just can't. I mean, you've got I guess a protagonist or an antagonist or whoever doesn't talk and seems to just have one shtick. And you know, unless you bring in a Loomis, but then it becomes kind of a reverse fugitive because you know he can't. If he captures him, it's kind of the end. And even if they capture him, he's just going to stare at him from inside a cell and not do anything. So I just a Freddy Krueger series I could see, and even did one, but this just seems. I mean, it's like doing a TV series of Jaws. Every week he fights a new shark or fights the same shark. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe they'll really pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Well, one of the things that you could do to make that good is to really reduce the screen time of the villain.
Oh, sure.
And just have all the surrounding characters being developed around the growing mystery of this guy, you know, that kind of thing.
I hope they do it.
When I'm writing on my blog. Anyway, so one of the things actually, but no, I do think fan service in Halloween for the 3 3 movies that Blumhouse did when they brought Charles Cypress back, when they brought Marion back, and just did nothing. It's like
that's fan disservice.
Why were they? No, they were there just for the fans.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm a fan, but you sort of I get why Will Patton's character was a part of the movie, but the person who should have been telling the 1978 flashback was Charles Cypress, not Will Patton.
Yeah, that's why for me the only pure movie series is the Fast and the Furious. I mean, you only need 3 things: a lot of crazy driving with cars, talk about family, and Vin Diesel punching people.
Rivalry, yeah. Race car rivalry. That's I
like the first one, but the second one just fell into excess. It was too much of everything. It was too fast. It was too furious.
Too furious.
Well,
made me furious.
It gets better after 3, and then it just at some point they just said, you know what, let's just go banana pants crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
When they bring in an entire village of Samoans to kick ass.
Or when you have a car break out of one building, fly over to another building that's that's under construction, and then fly out to a smaller building, and then it drives down and out. Like you know, that's pure cinema right there.
Well, you know why they brought in the family of Samoans is because of The Rock, right?
Of course. I totally understand that. But they also made that a big thing. I mean, it was a huge thing in that movie. So
I can think of 3 series that for me really work. In order of length, Back to the Future really holds together well.
Yep.
All of its continuity problems, amazingly, because that you would think would kill it, but it doesn't. It just kind of makes it wackier. The Apes movies, even though the shitty last one, but Severn Garden, goddammit, and Paul Williams and John Hughes. So I'll see that. And a rare appearance by Natalie Trundy. What's she doing in an Apes movie?
I have no idea.
And then the James Bond films, which, you know, and the latter two managed to get by with a long series and not one Roman numeral.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. That's true. No Roman numerals, only titles. Impressive.
It was.
Is there anything you guys want to add about this episode before we go?
No, solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
For something not written by Sherry Lewis, solid.
Who wants to
You know,
pick the
there's a
next
new
one?
documentary about her, I think, that's coming out.
I hope it covers the off-Broadway affair, which is one
Yeah.
of my favorite Man from U.N.C.L.E. episodes. Because it's pure goofiness.
Yes.
Well, I think, and because I saw a trailer, and at one point, somebody, I think it might have been her daughter, who said, well, you know, people think of my mom as a puppeteer, but she also wrote for many TV series, including Star Trek.
Good. Absolutely.
Look it up on IMDb, kids. I'm not lying.
No,
Neither's Patrick.
he's not lying. He's not lying. She was quite a talented lady, and passed it along to her daughter, and also her daughter's son is now part of the tradition of lamb chop, of all things.
Who wants to pick the next episode?
The Way to Eden.
Oh my God!
Crack.
It's the ultimate '60s episode.
I got a clean bill of health from Dr. McCoy. just for sheer ludicrousness.
Tomorrow night, right? Okay, I'll go for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Charles Napier, Uber Alice.
you got it.
Are you absolutely sure, Joel?
Yeah, I'm sure. Why not? You only live once. So I'm told.
We can do a serious one. We can do,
No, I'm kidding. We can do Way to Eden.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, that's from a season that began with Spock's brain.
Yes.
Well,
at least they got it out of the way right away. So.
You just want to see Charles Napier without a shirt, don't you?
Who doesn't? You're a Roger fan.
Yeah, Charles Napier,
biggest breasts in the movies,
with a shit-eating grin on his face for 60 minutes.
That smile, which is both menacing and ingratiating. And I'll tell you, I long had an idea. I know it's gonna sound weird, and it's not for racial reasons or whatever. It's just of a white Cisco, and who would play him? It's Charles Napier.
Charles Napier, because it's
Jack Palance.
Yeah, sociability and threat all in the same.
Him staring hot, every bit as terrifying as Avery Brooks.
Yes,
down to Todd.
Well, I think also Napier in his prime was bigger than Avery Brooks.
Quite still in his prime. I mean, he aged very well.
He did.
And the idea that he's as old as he is and still a commander means he's got a weird history.
Yes. Yeah.
Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook Unbound will be in the description box. Link to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page and website will be in the description box. Link to Alan Glenn's YouTube channel, Collins Sport After Dark, will be in the description box. You guys have a great night and stay safe.
Good
night, all.